It's almost a tale of two prime ministers, the actual one for Israel, Naftali Bennett, and his alternate prime minister and foreign minister, Yair Lapid. A few weeks ago in New York City, Bennett addressed the United Nations for the first time and mentioned the Palestinians exactly 0 times. In Washington on Tuesday, in various meetings with Biden administration officials, Yair Lapid brought up the Palestinians time and time again. But first on the agenda, as always, is Iran. He met on Tuesday morning here at the White House with National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan to go over a potential Plan B if the Americans and the Iranians can't come to terms and re-enter and re-engage on the Iranian nuclear accord issue. Later on, it was over to the U.S. Capitol as Lapid met with Speaker of the House Nancy Pelosi and representatives from Congress from both sides of the aisle.
It is a privilege to talk about the importance of the U.S.-Israel bond. It is one that is based on our mutual security. It is based on our mutual values. And it is, again, something that is a source of pride to all of us in the Congress who work on this.
When we all need to and can unite around the idea that we want to expand and deepen the circle of peace, and we all need and can unite around this basic principle that Israel has the right to defend itself and the Palestinians deserve a better life. And we all can unite around the idea that we will never let Iran become a nuclear threshold country.
Part of Lapid's mission here in Washington on this trip is to try to strengthen ties between the Israeli government and the Democratic Party here in America, something that Lapid feels was neglected during the previous Israeli government. He is determined to make sure it happens one way or another. Meanwhile, back here at the White House later on in the afternoon, a meeting between Lapid and U.S. Vice President Kamala Harris. They met in Israel a few years ago while Lapid was the opposition leader and Harris was merely a senator from California. This time around, the stakes are a bit higher for both of them. Harris laid out the agenda for their meeting.
We will discuss a number of other issues that include also shared prosperity for the people of our countries, as well as we will discuss the issue of peace, security, and prosperity for Palestinians as well as Israelis. And, of course, the regional challenges that we face and our shared concern as it relates to Iran and as it relates to our support for the Abraham Accords and, of course, as it relates to Israel's relationship with your neighbors.
Lapid, again, wanting to engage with the U.S.-Israeli relationship, says the table needs to be set, not for the next few months, not for the next few years, but the next decades.
And this generation is not only preoccupied with wars and conflicts, but also with the climate crisis, the global immigration crisis, and questions of identity. And in order to build this friendship for the next 100 years, we need to explore together those issues and to shape together a new world, new global architecture.
Lapid will spend his Wednesday at the State Department for a number of meetings with Secretary of State Antony Blinken and with the Foreign Minister from the United Arab Emirates, Mohammed bin Zayed. They'll all get together for a trilateral meeting at the end of the day. A big note from that one, the Abraham Accords, which were, of course, signed initially by Israel, the UAE, and the U.S., all three want to check in on the progress of those accords, see if they can pull any other countries into the agreement, and find out where the future lies in terms of Israel-Arab normalization. They will meet again, Blinken, Lapid, and bin Zayed at the State Department on Wednesday. Reporting from the White House in Washington, Mike Wagenheim, I-24 News.